Staff Sergeant, United States Marine Corps.
Hoorah!
Serial number 1086639. Born 94 years ago in the greatest little town in the whole United States of America, San Francisco, California. I'm born of immigrant parents who immigrated from Denmark. Grew up in the Great Depression of 1929 in the wonderful town of San Francisco and had a great childhood. We were poor, but everybody was poor. And we were all the same. And there was always a big bunch of kids on the block to play and go to school with and associate with. I joined the Marine Corps July 26th, 1948. Went to San Diego, California, Marine Corps Recruit Depot for boot camp. Came back from there on a 10-day leave. And after a 10-day leave, reported back and checked the duty roster and came recruit depot to see where I was going to full duty. And I was the only guy in the whole platoon that went out of the continental United States. And I went to an island in Alaska called Kodiak, which has the biggest brown bear in the whole world. As it turned out, when I got there, I'd never seen snow before. And as it turns out, when I got there, a day or two later, they had the biggest storm they had in 40 years, and that was my taste of first time of snow. So I spent my first winter in Alaska in a big snowstorm. And the second year, of course, being in Alaska, it snowed too. It was my second introduction into snow. I had a good time up there. I was 19 when I went in Alaska, and that same year I turned 20. The following year, I turned 21 in Alaska. I spent my 21st birthday in the brig. Solitary confinement, bread and water. For a very minor offense. I was really actually a very good Marine. In fact, I think I was good to the point that the commanding officer didn't agree with what was had to be done, but being a charge, which was very minor, he gave me the 5 days bread and water. But 3 years later, I received a good conduct medal, and found out later on he specified that that charge not be entered in my record because it was that minor. But anyway, that's a great place to spend your 21st birthday. We were all Marines there, 45 on that base, and we ran the brig anyway, so my buddies took good care of me. After my tour of duty came up, I was to leave after 18 months, and I got orders to go back to the continental United States because Alaska and Hawaii had not yet been in the States. And I got my orders, and my transportation back to the United States was on an Army freighter, the nicest little freighter you ever wanted to see. Had a great galley on it. It was just a beautiful morning, and I was out on the bow of that ship, coming out of Old Women Bay into the ocean, and first time, a new sensation for me, this heavy thing that I was sitting on, being the ship, started to go like this and up and down very, very gently. And it was quite a sensation to feel that ship raise and fall in the very gentle swells of the ocean. And there I was sitting out there, pretty cocky Marine, just pulled his tour of duty, and I was young, and I was strong, and I was built. And to top it all off, I was a United States Marine, full of pride. Came home on a 30-day leave, turned back into my new duty station in Oceanside, California, which was what was left of the 1st Marine Division from being disbanded from World War II, and turned in to my barracks and started to unpack my bag, and there was a Marine in there, and he says, "Hey, don't bother unpacking your bag." That was on the 26th of June. I said, "Why, what are you talking about?" He says, "Did you hear that somebody started a war in Korea?" And I said, "Korea? What the hell was that?" He said, "I don't know, over there someplace, like Japan, somewhere." And, yeah, well, never thought too much about it, but on August the 15th, the same year, I was aboard a transport with 5,000 other Marines crossing the Pacific, sailing to Kobe, Japan, where we combat loaded for the Incheon landing, which everybody said could not be done, but MacArthur said it could be, and figured on it, and doing so, and making that landing, and our objective was to secure Seoul, Korea, which was the capital, in Kimpo Airfield, which we did in record time and under a lot of conditions, very heavy fighting. We went back out to sea after that campaign, and we're out there circling around, and they decided they were going to push forward to the north and unify North and South Korea. And anyway, somebody said the Chinese would come in, and MacArthur, not a very good Army general named Tallman, decided to push forward anyway. And anyway, we did go forward, and we were heavy into North Korea when there were 100,000 Chinese that had infiltrated into North Korea, and they hit it once. And to our right flank, they totally decimated all the troops on our right flank. And to the left, they beat the hell out of them too, and what was left took off south. And there was a 1st Marine Division deep in North Korean territory, totally surrounded with 100,000 Chinese troops. Not a good situation to be in. But to cut the story kind of short, the Marines did what they did, and a Marine Corps epic battle worked their way 78 miles from North Korea, close to decimating the 4th Chinese Field Army, and intact made our way in heavy, severe fighting and super 30 to 40 degree cold weather, which was unimaginable that could be done, but they've done it. Due to our Marine Corps, whatever the word you want to use is, I can't think right offhand, Marine Corps spirit, which is unbreakable. Give me a moment here. There were two main enemies in that encounter. One was a Chinese field army, and every bit as formidable was the weather. 20 to 30 degrees below zero, where people literally froze to death. There was over 6,000 Marines killed in that operation, and there were over 5,000 casualties due to the weather. But anyway, I'm going to try to capitalize on one little story, which is a little hard to tell, but I'll do my best here. We were on our one night, making our way south, and it was the darkest of dark of a night. And I was in artillery, and I had a nice little 6x truck you ever wanted to see, 10-wheel drive, International, number 77221. I love that truck. And anyway, it was, what always for me is the worst time of night is like 4 o'clock in the morning. And there was stuff going around. And something to my right caught my eye, and I looked that way, and I thought that, geez, those look like fireflies. And I said, geez, these can't be fireflies. There's no fireflies at 20 and 30 below zero. Come to realize what I was looking at off into the future, the distance, was the muzzles of Chinese riflemen firing in our direction. All those fireflies were muzzle flashes of bullets coming our way. There was a lot of suffering and a lot of pain, and the way people carried on and watched out for each other, took care of each other is unbelievable. And they never once ever broke the spirit, and I never once ever felt threatened, because I was in the United States Marine Corps, which I had full confidence. I'm alongside the road there on 77221, and my door comes open on the other side. And those trucks had no tops on them. They were just like a convertible. They had a canvas cover over the top where the driver was, but there were no windows that rolled up or nothing like that. They were open trucks. And this door opened, and there was a Marine there. I think there was a couple of them actually. Had another Marine, and they said, hey, take this guy. Because the order was that everybody that could walk would walk. Nobody would ride. You were to walk. The only ones who were allowed to ride were the badly wounded or the wounded and the dead. We had our dead with us. This door opened, and they kind of pushed and shoved this Marine in next to me there, and he's not too happy, and he's wounded, and he's in pain. It's freezing cold. It's blacker than black can be. There's a lot of people out there doing their thing on both sides. And this kid is there. He's very, very unhappy and not doing well at all. He's in pain. He's wounded. He's in his agony, and he's in his despair. He's deep in his despair, and getting deeper in his despair. And he's wounded, and he's freezing. And not to repeat freezing, but freezing is horrible. And there he is. And in his agony, deeply in agony, in his agony, in his pain, he starts to cry. And he's sobbing, quietly but sobbing. And he says, I want my mother. I want my mother. I never did know his name. I don't have to forget him as long as I live. I know who you won't either. Enjoy your freedom and protect it, because let me tell you, it ain't free. God bless you all. Thank you.